Hello friends, we are here today for a CA final FR. I Dipesh Majithia on behalf of JK Shah Classes welcome you all. Now chartered. So our purpose is CA final paper 1. CA final paper 1 financial reporting. Now this is your first paper of 100 marks. You have definitely passed the first level foundation and intermediate. So you are aware of the toughness of the syllabus. You are aware of what CA final is. I'm not supposed to say too much about CA finals. Now, first thing I would like to start with is syllabus. In syllabus chartered, you would have got this paper. In this paper, you can see introduction, the syllabus part. That is fundamentals of FR. That is the first part we'll study over here. Then we'll study financial instruments, share-based payments. So this would be the first thing we would study, fundamentals. Then we would study share-based payments. Then we would study business combination. Then we would study consolidation. Then financial instruments. And thereafter we would study Ind AS, and this would be the last part, out of which this is again completely theory. So chartered, this is how we would move about in our syllabus. Correct? Now, paper pattern. Your paper pattern is, first question is compulsory of 20 marks. It can be any part of the syllabus. Generally, it is from fundamentals, consolidation, business combination, the popular ones. Thereafter, out of 5 questions, you are supposed to attempt 4 of 20 marks each. So that comes to 80 marks. So question number 1, 20 marks compulsory, and from the rest you are supposed to solve 4. That gives you 80. So 20 plus 80, 100 marks. That is your paper pattern. Now chartered, the syllabus publications of ICAI. ICAI has given you study material. ICAI has given you RTP. They will give you RTP. They will give you model papers, and they will give you past examination suggested answers. So there are basically 4 publications of ICAI. First, your study material, RTP, MTP, and suggested answers. Are we supposed to cover all 4? Yes, starters. We are supposed to cover all 4. So material which is provided in the class covers all 4 completely. So apart from that, the material covers certain questions from your IFRS exams also, because the syllabus, as I said, is basically Ind AS. Correct. If you go through the syllabus, apart from the last chapter, except this entire thing is Ind AS only. So if anybody says there is non-Ind AS and Ind AS, it is not possible. Entire syllabus is Ind AS only, except last 2 chapters, out of which one is a theory chapter of 2 pages and one is CSR reporting. So that is again a very small chapter. Now, so IFRS exams and some questions which are redrafted of the examination, because I felt that some questions are of similar variety, only adjustment, 1 or 2 are there changes. So those changes have been merged into one question. So question number 1 and question number 2 were basically same, with 1 or 2 adjustments different in each. So I've made sure that the adjustments are combined and you get one comprehensive question. Thereafter, charted in your paper, you would find that introduction to FRMA, how to write objective questions, case study based questions. In this paper, you would see that. Correct? I'm not sure you will not be able to see the paper, but yeah. In that paper, you would see that how to write objective questions, case study. So please read that first para you write the way you used to follow in intermediate. First para you write the name of the standard, the heading of the standard, the number of the standard, the relevant part of the standard which is required for that case study, write that relevant part. Then start with the facts of the case. Then whatever provision you had written, what are the facts of the case, try to relate them, provide the interpretation that how the case is related to that standard, and then conclude with specifically with the question and standard ka relation. Correct? So this is how you are supposed to write the theoretical answers which you would have already studied in your intermediate. That first there is a starting introduction where you write the number of the standard, name of the standard, and the paragraph of the standard which is relevant for the case study. Then you write the facts of the case study relating with the standard, and then you conclude your answer trying to match your facts of the case and the relevant portion of the standard. Thereafter, after the syllabus gets over, the pattern which we would have followed in the class, you should follow the same pattern while revising also. The only difference is after fundamentals, in class we would go to share-based payment, business combination and consolidation. But you should start fundamentals, then financial instruments, then share-based payments, business combination, consolidation. Once you finish this, you can be rest assured that 40% of your syllabus is over. For the remaining 60%, or rather I would say 50% of the syllabus would be over. And for the remaining part, you can choose the standards. Then Ind ASR becomes independently. First you do fundamentals and financial instruments. I can assure you one thing, your all standards open up. Then you can enter whichever standards you want. Now my wonderful charters, one very, very important point. The basic difference between standards and Ind AS is standards were short stories. Ind AS is a novel. Short stories mean chartered every standard was basically independent in nature. Over here, Ind ASs are not independent in nature. They are connected. They are correlated. So we have to build an overview about the entire Ind AS. Once that is built, I can assure you one thing, that it's a beautiful thing to study. You will never find there are contradictory statements. You will never find one standard speaking something else, another standard speaking something else. You will never find that charter. And the concept once built will be relevant for all standards. It will not vary from standard to standard. So certain concepts we will learn initially on which all standards are based. So once the characterization of the novel is done, then it is easy to build on that novel. So please focus on the characterization. Another important aspect. There is a paradigm shift from studying intermediate and finals. Intermediate is more of accounting. This is more of interpretation, more of application of standards. So you'll not find ledger accounts, too many. You'll find loads of journal entries, loads of theoretical discussion, and how the items are presented in the financial statement. Accounting for fixed assets is very simple. Deciding whether a particular item is a fixed asset or not, there lies the trick. Now you must be thinking, sir, deciding whether a particular item is a fixed asset or not, that we had learnt in 11th standard. Don't worry about it. Sit with an open mindset that yes, you will learn something which you had not studied in 11th standard. So sometimes deciding whether a particular company is a subsidiary company and thereafter consolidation should be prepared or not. So deciding whether a particular company is a subsidiary or not might give you a thought process rather than knowing that this is a particular subsidiary and we are supposed to do consolidation. So first you have to decide whether it's a subsidiary or not, and that decision requires an insight of the standard. Whether it's a lease or not. Once you decide it's a lease, which type of lease, then accounting becomes simple. So decision making is more important then accounting over here, chartered. Accounting is definitely important. So there is a lot of thought process which is involved in finals. No ledger accounts, you get a balancing figure, profit, and you shout, yay, I got the answer. It's not like that over here. So there are hardly ledger accounts in entire accounts. There are loads of journal entries, loads of interpretation, loads of decision making, and financial statement presentation. Am I clear? So I hope that gives you a fair idea of how your syllabus will look like. The syllabus, if you tell me, I would say only two things. One, Ind AS. Two, non-Ind AS. There are two things only. One is integrated reporting and second is CSR. Sir, apart from what you teach in class, what we are supposed to study, how we are supposed to follow your class. Now, my friends, whatever we do in the class, that is the end. What I expect from you. First, watch the class in complete. Some students have a habit when they're watching in the house, I know, wala feel. Don't do that. Even if you know, listen and prepare the notes in the most systematic fashion. Because after few months, you would not remember anything. Only those notes which you have written with your own hand will help you understand the subject. So writing of notes in the best possible fashion is required. Secondly, notes is one which I would give you in the class officially. And another thing is which I would be explaining, which I would be scribbling on the board to explain you. If those things you feel are important, make sure you pause and copy them. But make sure that there is a difference. You understand that notes which I have written with blue pen or black pen is the notes which are officially given by the sir. And the notes which I have scribbled with color pencil or any other thing are notes which I have created looking at sir scribbling in the classroom. So you would get the difference. The examples which I narrate, if you feel they are important, please make sure that you write down those examples also. So maintaining notes is very, very important. Secondly, if I ask you to solve a question in the classroom, make sure that you solve the question. Because I might solve 500 questions on the board. Until and unless you solve a question on the board, it does not help you better. So you have to solve questions yourself. Obviously, the solution would come on the board. Third, please calculate yourself instead of relying on my calculations. Correct? So please do that. So write the notes. Write running notes also, solve the question, calculate yourself. Make sure that you revise whatever you have done every day. Instead of studying 6 hours of video, I would say study 3 hours or 4 hours of video, then revise. So before you move on to the next video, your first video ka studies is done. You have completely understood. Then you move on to the next video. So by the time all the classes end, you are done with your syllabus. You cannot come back and revisit the videos and do it. Is that facility there? Yeah, that facility is there. But I would advise one video done and dusted second, then over third. Don't jump into videos and try to finish up the portions as soon as possible. Because if you finish the portions and if you don't understand, that is useless. So first finish the portions very nicely with revision. So wherever required, I keep on telling my students, pause, write, revise and then move ahead. Pause, write, revise and then move ahead. So when you move on to the next video, the first video is clear. So you need not go back to the old video. Am I clear? After the syllabus gets over, what my experience is, whatever inputs I have got from the students, loads of students, all the students have, whatever I have deduced from their inputs is, you require almost 130 to 160 hours. You require 130 to 160 hours for your revision. So plan accordingly. You will require 130 to 160 hours for revising entire FR. Now, for revising entire FR, if I tell you 150 hours, that means if you are revising 10 hours a day, you would require almost 15 to 17 days. Correct? So make sure you plan accordingly for revision of FR. And class notes would be sufficient. Apart from that, you can just refer institute material for theoretical illustrations and nothing else. You would refer complete theory, whatever whatever is given to you in the printed material or which I make you write in the class. Am I clear? Now, so sit back, relax, get your notes, calculator, your printed sheet ready, and then we move on to fundamentals. Shall we start? Yes, sir.
Hello, Chartereds. How are you? I hope you are doing well. I'm doing wonderful. We are here for yet another session and with yet another important chapter of your CA Final FR sessions. We have finished share-based payment, business combination, consolidation. Now we are here with another important chapter called financial instruments. Now, Chartered, financial instruments. It is governed by 3 Ind AS. That is Ind AS 32, Ind AS 109, Ind AS 107. In consolidation, we had studied Ind AS 27, 28. 27 was separate financial statements, which stated that any investment in joint venture, associate and subsidiary should be valued at cost. Any dividend received should all be credited to PRL. There is no concept of pre-acquisition dividend and post-acquisition dividend. So we studied 27, 28, 110, 111 and 112. That was disclosures of consolidation. So we did 5-6 standards over there. There we did 103 business combination, 102 we did share-based payments. Over here we are supposed to cover 3 standards. Again, out of this 107 is a disclosure standards. We are supposed to basically study 2 standards, 32 and 109. 32 deals with Ind AS 32 deals with chartered definition and classification of financial instruments, and 109 deals with measurement, recognition and presentation of financial instruments, and 107 is disclosure. So if I tell you, if I divide the 3 standards, generally a standard gives a scope is 32, measurement, recognition, derecognition 109, presentation also 109, disclosure is 107. Now, chartered, why this standard? What was the need of this standard? This standard is important for 2-3 reasons. I'll tell you one simple experience which I had when I studied this standard for the first time ages ago. I studied when it was not Ind AS, it was IFRS. So when I was studying IFRS 32, 109, 107, basically when I studied 32 only and 109, believe me, some 10 years back, when I studied these standards in international mode, and before that I had already given some 10-15 years to accountancy, correct? And after studying this standard 10 years back and already given accountancy 10-12 years, I felt if I would not have studied this standard, my accounting learning would have been incomplete. I would not have been able to ever say I have studied accounts. Forget about saying I know accounts. I never believe that anyone should have audacity of saying that I know the subject, because sometimes we don't know that how much we don't know. So there are so many things existing, out of which you don't know only that there are so many things existing. This thing I know, this thing I don't know. There is a set, but beyond this set also item exists which we don't know only. Financial instruments made me realize that I need to restart my thinking capacity. I have to think from a various perspective. So chatted, there are two ways of learning this chapter. First way is, no sir, I studied this. No sir, we studied this. We understood this. This is how it is. And secondly, what we studied was okay, but this is brilliant. So either I could have said, oh my god, whatever I studied was bullshit. Or I could say, wow, it's a wonderful new thing. So the approach is yours, chatted, the way you take it. I'll give you one simple, sweet examples to build this standard. First of all, you have always heard a word called equity share capital, security premium, capital redemption reserve, development rebate reserve, investment allowance reserve, correct? General reserve, correct? Have you ever thought from where these words came? No. Did you ever think also that why do we need to disclose our share capital into two parts? Suppose 10 rupees ka shares, I issue it for 12. I pass the journal entry bank account debit. How much? Bank account debit 12 to equity share capital 10 to security premium 2. First of all, tell me, did any standard give us this journal entry? Have you seen any standard governing equity share capital? No. No, chatted. There was no standard governing equity share capital. So we did not pay heed to it only. We got this journal entry from company law. Company law says that if you 10 rupees ka shares are issued at 12 rupees, then 10 rupees should be transferred to equity share capital, 2 rupees should be transferred to security premium, and hence we started passing the journal entry bank account debit to equity share capital to security premium. It was taught to us in 12th standard. Then it was repeated in foundation, and then it got embedded in our brain. And then we started seeing financial statements in reality, chatted. We went into offices, we saw financial statement of corporate entities. When we saw financial statement of corporate entities, they were presented in such fashion only. Equity share capital and security premium. But we never thought, why break? What benefit do we get? What benefit do we get? And nobody had the answer. Some people started saying it helps us to calculate dividend. My question to them was, it helps us to calculate dividend that you are thinking now or you had thought when you learned nominal value and security premium? Tell me, chatted. If I write bank to capital 12 rupees, I write bank to equity share capital 10 to security premium 12, why this breakup? People told me it will help me to calculate dividend. Hurry. Dividend, I'll calculate a percentage of share capital. That is secondary, but I'll decide that from this much profit I have, this amount I will distribute it as dividend. And I calculate DPS, dividend per share. Don't you think? Do I require number of equity instruments or nominal value? It's a number of equity instruments. So it does not help us to calculate dividend, chatted. We have been taught it is a percentage of nominal value. But if I calculate percentage of 12 rupees, the percentage will change. But will the calculation be wrong? No. That means I decide that out of 100 rupees profit, 20 rupees I want to pay dividend. I don't say 10% dividend I want to pay. I say 20 rupees I want to pay dividend. Then I calculate DPS, dividend per share. Correct, incorrect, chatted? Tell no, yes or no. Then we say it is a percentage. In books we study percentage. But in reality, dividend is calculated from profit. Yes, no. Yes, sir. Secondly, sir, we show this is the amount of capital. Why? Give me one logical answer why we need to show. So another student told me, sir, it is a norm. Correct, it is a norm. But benefit of this norm? Benefit of this norm was in Companies Act, not in standard. What benefit accounts will get? Now suppose if I write 10 rupees capital, am I supposed to give 10 rupees to my shareholders? Is my liability towards shareholder 10 rupees? No, my liability towards shareholder is asset minus liabilities. Whatever is left, I'll give it to my shareholders. At the time of liquidation, it may be more than 10, it may be less than 10. 2 rupees extra which I got, that is capital only. Can I pay dividend out of it? No. Then, sir, what? Sir, but you can use security premium elsewhere. You cannot use capital anywhere else. Who told you? Who told you you cannot use? Because you said security premium 10 rupees, 10 rupees nominal value, 2 rupees premium. Premium can be written off for writing of discount on issue of debentures. I'll come to all this. Discount on issue of shares, premium on redemption of preference shares, premium on redemption of debentures, loss on buyback. You could use this. Arey, buyback is nothing but capital only. Redemption is nothing but capital repayment only. So, why are you going into that? 10 rupees ka capital, when are you paying 12 rupees? 2 rupees you are again saying premium. Are you understanding what I am trying to say? 10 rupees ka capital, 2 rupees premium. When I repay this 10 rupees ka capital at 12 rupees, I said 2 rupees premium on redemption and set it off against this. I could have very well said, no, 12 rupees ka capital, repaid 12. Game over. Why we say 10 rupees capital I got, 2 rupees is security premium. Then at the time of 10 rupees capital, when I redeemed at 12 rupees, I said 2 rupees premium on redemption. That premium on redemption should be set off with security premium generated earlier. Dumb. It was completely dumb. Accept it. Don't be rigid. But this is how we had learnt accounts. That nominal value security premium. India's bull, I don't understand. And since we did not have any accounting standard related to equity share capital, we did not pay heed to it. We kept on showing that. And mind you, Companies Act Schedule 3 was powerful. Companies Act Schedule 6 was more powerful than AS. Companies Act told nominal value security premium. We said, okay, sir. Nominal value security premium. We did not have time to argue why. And that is why, if you are aware, few months back, Companies Act dropped the word reserve from security premium. Earlier it was known as security premium reserve. They dropped the word reserve just to match with Ind AS, because Ind AS says 10 rupees cost 12 shares. If you issue at 12, the journal entry is bank 2, equity 12. Done. You want to break up, you break up. But we as IFRS or Ind AS does not understand that. It is equity, other equity, over and out. Are you understanding? That means they are basically trying to see any reserve which is capital, from where you cannot pay dividends, which is your capital profits, is equity, which is your revenue profits, is your other equity. Are you understand? By whatever name call. You want to call it general reserve, call it. You want to call it RAM reserve, call it. You want to call it share based payment reserve, call it. Now I'll tell you one more thing, then you will understand. In share based payment reserve, I had told the balance in share based payment reserve should be transferred to general reserve. Correct? Why? Because it was a norm. It was a norm. We had done it in Inter. Balance in ESO is transferred to reserve. Correct? But share based payment is what? Reserve. General reserve is what? Reserves. Both will come under which reserve? Both will come under which reserve? Head, reserves and surplus. Can you pay dividend out of it? Yes. Yes, you can pay. So, Ind AS did not give us share based payment reserve. Ind AS says expenses should be debited. You call it share based payment, employee benefit expense. I can call it share based payment expense. But ultimately, whatever name you call in PRL, you will show under the head employee benefit expense. So, we started calling it employee benefit expense. Then it is other equity, whether you call it share based payment reserve or general reserve. And that is why Ind AS does not state that the balance of share based payment reserve should be transferred to other equity. Expenses you recognize, on the exercise date, whatever is recognized is very good. Balance remains in other equity by whatever name called, share based payment reserve or general reserve. So, still some people even today who understand Ind AS very, very nicely, for they don't close a share based payment reserve and transfer it to general reserve. Are you understanding? So, we need to come out of little shackles. Earlier, we did not come out for two reasons. Reason number one, there was no standard which could guide us. Reason number two, Companies Act was more powerful. So, we did accounting as per Companies Act. Are you understanding? Yes, sir. Now, chartered. Let's first cover what is Ind AS 32, 109 and 107. Correct? Before going into it. Why financial instruments? It was tip of the iceberg. Believe me, when I discussed share capital, it was just a tip of iceberg. That means I just wanted to tell you, breaking up between premium and nominal value does not benefit us in any way. To calculate dividend, we require number of equity instruments. To calculate voting rights, we require number of equity instruments and the voting rights. Nominal value will not benefit us in any way, and security premium is nothing but part of capital, which can be used only to write off capital losses. Correct? It basically helps us to write premium on buyback. That is capital only. Premium on redemption of preference share, capital only, and discount on issue of debentures. That I'll show you. Wait. So, why financial instruments started? Look at this balance sheet. You will understand. Balance sheet mein charted, we had फिक्स्ड एसेट्स, जिसको हम लोग पीपी, टैंजिबल, intangible, investments, then current assets में inventory, trade receivables, bills receivables, that means debtors and bills receivables. Correct? Cash bank. Over here, equity share capital, reserves and surplus, non-current liability, current liability, and in current liability and non-current liability, we had provisions. For this, we had AS 10. For this, we had AS 26. For this, we had one small AS 30, long term, short term, pre-acquisition dividend, post-acquisition dividend, and treatment of right issue it taught us. That's it. Come interest, ex interest it taught us. That's it. Long term should be valued at cost. Short term should be valued at cost of market price, whichever is lower. And long term, short term is based on the intentions. I'll give one small example. You'll understand. First of all, chartered, let's decide. Disclosing more profits is good or disclosing less profits is good. Now, there are two kinds of people who will think. One people will say disclosing less profit is good, it saves tax. उसकी सोच छोटी है, सोच बड़ी करो. How you will write? If you read the news, Bajaj Auto Limited disclosed a profit of 10% less than the comparative figure of last year. Will the share market be happy or sad? Sad. Will people shout tax saving, tax saving? No. We are such a huge entity where tax does not make any difference only. Higher the market price of the shares, higher better it is, and our net worth is completely dependent on the market price of the shares, and market price of the shares has direct relation with the profitability of the company. So more profits company disclose, it is better. Correct? So आज से हमारा गुरु मंत्र more profits disclose करना, यही window dressing. Disclose more profits, market value will increase, market capitalization will increase, my net worth will increase. Tax नहीं, tax को भूल जाओ, छोटी सोच है वो. That is small thought process, narrow thought process. AS 13 में क्या हुआ? मेरे पास दो इन्वेस्टमेंट्स है, इन्वेस्टमेंट इन TCS, इन्वेस्टमेंट इन Infosys. दोनों के इक्विटी शेयर्स, बोथ इक्विटी शेयर्स आई हैव परचेज्ड, TCS and Infosys. Both are intention short term. I'll sell and earn profits. Correct? Infosys share prices have increased. I don't mind. So Infosys where share prices have increased, cost of market price whichever is lower. So cost is lower. So I purchase for 5 rupees, I will show it at 5 rupees. Correct? Yes. So Infosys का काम खत्म. Now let's come to TCS. TCS also cost or market price whichever is lower, I will show it. Market price fell down. I purchase at 5 rupees, market price is 3 rupees. So 2 rupees का loss हो जाएगा मेरा. That loss will go to PRL. How sir? If you prepare investment account to bank, investment to bank 5, buy balance carried down 3, तो buy PL 2. Investment account में 2 bank 5, buy balance carried down 3 only, तो 2 by PL. Correct? Loss 2 रुपए का, that 2 rupees का loss will go in your PRL. First, is it a provision or a loss? It's a provision, it's an expected loss. Has it occurred or it will occur? It will occur. But as soon as you transfer provision for loss on investment in your PL account, it will give you two negative things. Those who are superficial in nature, those investors who are superficial in nature, who just see your profits and say, oh my God, profit decreased. They read newspaper said, oh my God, profit decreased, market will react. And other who by chance look at your financial statement, they will say, oh, there is a provision for loss on investment, that means Dipesh made a bad investment. In both the cases, your market price will fall. Correct? Yes. Finalization came, you are a chartered accountant, and this was the case in Reliance Industries. You are a chartered accountant of Reliance Industries. So there are two scripts in which Reliance has invested crores of rupees. One script is trading at a higher price, so there is no problem, we are going to show it at cost. Other script is trading at a lower than the cost price, so you are supposed to value it at cost or market price, whichever is lower. So if you value at market price, Reliance will disclose a profit will dip by around 50 crores. Suddenly, Reliance says, no, we have changed our intention, this is long term. Finish? Long term. Long term, intention change. Is changing of intention disallowed in AS 13? No, allowed. Ambani changed his intention. Ambani changed his intention, those short-term investments which would have given you a loss of 50 crores, now they are again valued at cost. Why? Because intention is changed, it is long-term investment. So, long-term investment should be valued at cost. So, they came in balance sheet at cost. That 50 rupees ka loss which was supposed to appear in my PRNL will not appear. But in reality, was it a bad investment? Yes. Should the shareholders know? Yes. Should the profit be affected? Yes. But was it affected? No. Why? Because AS 13 did not have the capacity to do so. Correct? Inventory. Yeah, we had one standard. We still have AS 2. Still decent. Debtors. No standard. Bills receivable, no standard. Cash and bank, no standard. Equity share capital, no standard. Reserves and surplus, no standard. Current liability, no standard. Non-current liability, no standard. Current liability, no standard. Over here, if I say loans and advances, no standard. Investment also, this standard was there, but very, very immature standard. No standard. Provision ka, yeah, AS 29 was there. So, can you see majority of our balance sheet was without standard, and all this is covered under financial instruments. All this for which we did not have any standard till today is now covered under financial instruments. So, basically I wanted to show coverage of financial instruments. So, you can see basically for those which you know standards were there, apart from that for those things for which standard weren't there, it is covered by financial instrument, and that is only brings us to the equity and other equity वाला fund. It says क्या कर रहे हो भाई, कर क्या रहे हो? Why you are showing all this? 10 rupees का share issued for 12 rupees should be disclosed at 12 rupees capital. Game over. If you want, you can disclose it, but that is equity only. That 2 rupees you call security premium if you want to call, but that is equity. Okay. Shall we move ahead? Yes. Now, let's start with Unit 1, background. Why financial instruments? So, first reason why financial instrument or background of it is there were so many uncovered area in our balance sheet which needs to be covered under this. Okay, sir. Concept 1. What is business? Correct? So, first thing which strikes our mind is what is business. For that we have note 1. Any process when applied to input has ability to output. Any process when applied to input has ability to generate output. Am I clear? So, the three important words: process, input and output. Wait, first see the entire structure I create, then you copy. So, let's concentrate on these three words. Sir, you were speaking about consolidation. Yeah, I wanted to come back to it later on, but yeah, in case of amalgamation, AS 14 used to say that you purchase a business, so that business is over. But Ind AS 103 says even if you have control over the another business, then also it is a business combination. You need old entity, matlab selling entity need not stop existing. It may exist, still it is a business combination. So there is a very close contact between business combination and consolidation. But in AS 14, old entity used to die, new entity used to continue. Over here it is not like that. So wait for it. We'll come to it later on, which is overcoming. So AS 14 used to deal with only one aspect of amalgamation, that you take over. If you have control, then consolidation. No, over here says business combination means nexus. Whether you take over or you still continue together separately, still it is a business combination. Am I clear? Yes. Now chartered. First is input, process and output. Input, process, output. Now chartered. Input means what? assets plus patents, that is all identifiable assets, plus intellectual property plus workforce. That means those who are directly involved in your production process, or those who are directly involved in generating services for you. Correct? Workforce does not include sales staff, D group staff. Correct? Yes. Okay, sir. So that means workforce also you have to take over, yes. Otherwise it will not be considered as a business combination, no chartered. If business is not there, combination is not possible. So you have to satisfy the definition of business first. So it might happen that you take workforce today and then you throw them up tomorrow. Yeah, that is possible. Just to show a particular business as a business combination, you take over the workforce and then you chuck them off. That is possible, yes. But otherwise, you will not be able to carry business. If your intention is business combination, amalgamation in true sense, not acquisition of assets, then you will definitely take over what? Workforce also, because you require them. Process. What is process? It is a set of activities applied on inputs. Set of activities applied on inputs. Now chartered. Set of activities. What does set of activities mean? Any system or protocol rules standards and convention. Every business has all this. Set of activities does not include accounting department, payroll department, admin. That means they are not directly involved in production process. Output, or that means ERP, whether I purchase or not purchase, does not make any difference. Payroll method which I carry forward or does not carry forward does not make any difference. any admin related issues. So suppose there is fire extinguisher. If I do not purchase, it will do. Output means a return on investment plus means rather or a reduction in, sir, why reduction in cost? For example, we require around 3 crores are printing expenses, correct? Our printing expense is 3 crores. So we thought 3 crores is too much expenditure. Why not have our own printing press? If we have our own printing press, our cost of printing will decrease. So we purchased a printing press. That means we purchased the business of printing press. Entire thing we purchased. But was that printing done for sale to outsiders? No, it was for our cost reduction. Is that amalgamation? Yes. Why? Because entire business is taken over. Okay, sir. Or other economic benefits, staff training also it includes. Now chartered, I have written over here, any process when applied to input has ability to generate. Ability to generate means capable of generating. It has still not generated. It is still capable of generating. That means started over here we are talking about startups. So this is how they defined business. Correct? So this is what business means. Input process which applied on input has a capacity of generating output. Output means return on investment, reduction in cost or other economic benefits. Process means any system, protocol, rules, standard, convention which gives results. It does not include complete admin departments, and input includes all assets, patents, intellectual property, all intangible, all identifiable assets and workforce. Workforce does not include that workforce which is not directly involved into production process or service generation. Am I clear? Yes or no? Yes, sir. So please copy this definition nicely, then we move on to note 2. So you would have copied this definition. Now note 2. Acquisition of group of assets that is not covered under Ind AS 103. It was covered under covered under AS 14. Covered under AS 14. Not covered under Ind AS 103. Correct? But covered under Ind AS 16, that is PP, property, plant and equipment. Now over here consolidated price paid to acquire asset would be apportioned in ratio of fair value of assets acquired. This is very important, chartered. Sir, what does it mean? Yeah, that is $1 million question. What does it mean? Consolidated price to acquire the asset. That means a lump sum amount is paid to acquire 5 assets. Then how do we segregate them? How do we bifurcate them? How do we apportionment them? In the ratio of fair value of assets acquired. What is fair value, sir? Fair value, as we discussed in fundamentals, it is an market price. It is a price at which asset can be sold in active market. Level 1 I am talking about. Exit price. Okay, sir. Acquisition of group of assets. Copied. Now suppose plant and machinery, book value 100, fair value 150. Land and building, book value 200, fair value 250. Correct? Now, purchased for rupees 600. Both the assets put together. Now chartered. AS 14. Ind AS 16. PP. Because this was covered in AS 14. AS 14 used to say plant and machinery account debit 150, land and building 250, to cash 600. So net assets is how much? 400. Difference is goodwill. In intermediate only you have done few questions where only 4 or 5 assets were taken over and we generated goodwill. Teacher did not say anything, you did not ask anything. Life was beautiful then. But Ind AS 16 says plant and machinery account debit, land and building account debit, to cash 600. 600 is distributed in ratio 150 is to 250. That will give you 225, 375. Correct? That means it is distributed in the ratio of fair value chartered. Am I clear? Yes sir, no sir? Yes sir. Copy this. Now chartered. Suppose if I purchase a building, with loads of with few tenants. Is it a business combination? I am not supposed to provide them any service. They are long-term tenancy rights. No chartered. Then it's not a business. It is a purchase of property, investment property. But suppose if I purchase a hotel with rooms, then it is, yes, then it's a business combination. If I purchase a mall, then it's a business combination. Am I clear? So if you purchase a property along with tenancy rights, it is not a business combination. But if you purchase a hotel or a mall along with tenancy rights, then that is a business combination, because in both the cases there is some business going on. There's an advertisement department in mall. You are giving some services to your apartments, to the shopkeepers over there or the shops over there. So there is a business over there. If those tenants go, you search for another tenants. There is a maintenance department you have. But in case of a building with few tenants, you do not have anything apart from providing little bit of services to them. Correct? Now, so note 3. Purchasing a property with long-term tenancy rights shall not be considered rather as business. Correct? It is covered under Ind AS 40 investment property. And chartered, when you study investment property, this will come by default. Why am I writing? Because there would be some theoretical case studies you can see in your notes. I have discussed all theoretical case studies which has come in your past examination, institute material. So whatever case studies are there, it is all printed along with the solution. You just have to go through that, because otherwise there would be too much of theoretical discussion in the class. Purchasing of hotel or mall. Considered as business. Considered as business and covered in 103. So what is the process? The process: advertisement department is there, marketing department is there, service department is there, which provide services in mall as well as hotel. Hotel mein to we charge money not only for room rent, but we are charging money also for the services rendered. Malls also, apart from the shop rent, we are charging common area ka rent, marketing ka rent, safety precautions, parking area, lot of other facilities for which we charge a composite rent in mall also. So there is a process, obviously there are inputs, and which results in not only rent but other gains also. It is a return on investment, correct? Yes, sir. So it is covered. When we study Ind AS 40, that is investment property, we will again come back to hotel and malls. The same point will be discussed there also, to say that purchasing of hotel or mall is not an investment property, it is a business combination, because we are getting a rent not only for the property but also for the services rendered. Correct? Yes, sir. Note 4. Shell company does not do anything. For example, Mantri Limited, equity share capital 1 crore, Mantri Greens 1 crore. Correct? Sham Limited purchased 100% equity shares of Mantri Limited. Now tell me, Chartered, what is this? Is this a business purchase? No, there is no business only. It is indirect way of purchasing what? Property. Correct. So just to save capital gain tax, you cannot have this kind of a drama. This was tax saving method which was applied by Mantri Limited. So that is wrong. Shell company, not a business. Covered under Ind AS 16 or 40 as the case may be. If you have purchased for your business use, then it is 16. If you have purchased for the purpose of letting it out, then it is investment property. It depends for what is the reason for purchase. Chartered. So I hope you are getting a clearer view that there has to be a business. Chartered. You cannot randomly purchase assets and say it's a business combination. There has to be a business which will generate returns for you. Am I clear? So mere purchasing of property shall not be considered as a business. Am I clear? So copy this and then we move ahead. So I hope it is very clear what is the definition of business, what it includes and what it does not include. Now, Chartered, we understood the meaning and the definition of the word business.